Dumb ways to die.
Hi everyone, welcome to Pseudo Cine Critics. My name is Gary Jonas.
My name's Leonard John.
And I'm the Eurasian Dragon. And today we are going to be reviewing, or rather we're going to share our reactions to the new Jurassic World Rebirth trailer. And we will also talk about Final Destination Bloodlines, and also a very brief retrospective of the whole Final Destination franchise on the whole. Yeah.
That's right. So, which shall we start with first? Death or dinosaurs?
Dinosaurs, of course.
Dinosaurs
let's go chronologically,
like
Yeah, dinosaurs came first.
So what did you guys think of the new trailer?
I mean, it's a bit different from like Jurassic World 1 and 2, or in the whole grand scheme, the Jurassic movies 4 and 5, because first of all, there's no Chris Pratt. They kind of like seem to have swapped in with Scarlett Johansson as like the lead role. They're no longer retreating the same plot points of 4 and 5, you know, like the whole park and all that. It looks a little bit more like a survivalist horror kind of like take on Jurassic Park. They're going back to like the old island that's evacuated. Yeah, so it seems a bit interesting that they're not like, you know, going back to old plot points. Yeah.
Is it Isla Nubla or Sona?
Which one do you think it is, from what we just saw? Yeah, so I think the premise for this one's a little bit different. It's not set in the usual islands of Isla Nuba,
Isla Sona, Isla Nubla.
Yeah, it's like some like French name island, and apparently this is where mutated dinosaurs go to die. No, I guess they're not dead. They go there to like live the rest of their dinosaur lives, and this group of scientists or researchers or whatever, right? They're going in to extract the DNA of these dinosaurs from their eggs. That's what we saw in the trailer.
Yeah.
Millions of lives are saved.
Raptor eggs.
For whatever reasons, whether they want to like make new ones.
I think there's some disease or something that they want to extract the
yes, yeah.
DNA from.
Was this based on the 4th and the 5th? There was some disease?
No.
like-
I feel that they have built this movie, the Rebirth, right? So that it's kind of like separate in a way.
It feels that way. It feels like it's I mean, definitely existing in the same universe, but just like narratively a different tangent, in the sense that I feel the 4th movie, Jurassic World, was a retreat of Jurassic Park, the first one. It's like how The Force Awakens is basically A New Hope. Just same beats, different story, right? Even the second Jurassic World felt a bit like a retreat of the Lost World. Yeah, because like they went out of the island and all that. They brought the dinosaurs to the mainland.
They're not going to be forced to coexist.
Bring it back to its roots kind of thing. Because the first Jurassic Park, you know, the one that Leonard loves the most.
Actually, I prefer Lost World more.
I mean, that's good too.
You prefer Lost World?
Yeah, that was the first one that I saw in theaters.
Okay.
I saw the
Right.
second and the third. The first one, Laserdisc.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
Yes,
Laserdisc.
Laserdisc.
We are
Yeah.
millennials. We
Yeah.
had Laserdisc.
We were brought
before.
up on Laserdisc.
It was
yeah.
2 Laserdiscs. It's 2, right?
Yeah,
Two
one side.
Laserdiscs.
Yeah.
Side A, side B.
Side A, side B. Yeah. Yes. So I think in some ways it's going back to its roots. Maybe that's why they titled it Rebirth and all that, to, you know, like subliminally message the entire world that
So rebirth,
yeah.
rejuvenation,
Yeah,
Ring
so
of Rebirth.
regurgitation. Did they renovate the park?
no, the entire place looks like wretched, man, from what we saw in the trailer. You know, it seems like
But they didn't show raptors in the trailer.
Say they're raptors. They're raptors.
Jonathan Bailey. No idea who he is.
starring as Dr. Henry Loomis, apparently, right?
Yeah.
So I guess he's the anchor point of the story. Scarlett Johansson is supposed to be the A-list draw that gets people to come and watch the story. So Mahershala Ali's character seems to be the guy that brings them in and out of the island. Yeah, it seems like a standard ragtag group of like charismatic individuals who get into like some deep shit with the dinosaurs. And maybe that's what people want to see after all, because like Jurassic World 1 and Jurassic World 2 large scale, very big budget blockbuster types, but it'll be nice to see it go back to its
thriller and horror kind of roots.
But do you think they're going to make the same mistakes as the first trilogy? Here's what I mean by mistakes. Rich white man makes dinosaurs.
Really spectacular, spared no expense.
The voice you're now hearing is
John Hammond, spared no expense.
we spared no expense.
Spectacular design, spared no expense.
Scientist says, don't make dinosaurs.
He still
Rich
makes
white
it.
man makes dinosaurs. Dinosaurs get smart, change genders, replicate, and escape. Is that what's going to happen?
Life
Life
finds a way.
yeah.
Life found a way.
So if that happens, I'm okay with that because this is dinosaurs.
Okay.
I don't mind watching that.
Let me-
I hope that's what happens. And I hope we get cool, spectacular deaths. Like in Lost World when the T-Rex ripped that guy in
Oh
half.
yeah. I'm a person that loves dinosaurs a lot. Watched Jurassic Park.
Land Before Time.
Yeah, I mean, back in Neverending Story. Yeah, so basically, like, for us, right, how they actually build the dinosaurs is very important to us. Of course, it's very clear that Jurassic Park has its own range of dinosaurs. Okay, so raptors do not exist in the real world. They do. About the size slightly larger than a chicken.
What does it look like?
Oh.
Oh, those things.
Oh, the one that spits the venom.
Yeah. The Dilophosaurus. Okay, we know there is Dilophosaurus, alright, but the real Dilophosaurus doesn't spit out venom. What in JP1, what they did was actually to engineer it to make it more horror-like. The realization in JP3 was that, hey, a lot of the dinosaurs that seemingly have been like, that look very different, or they are larger than life and all that, it's not real. Hence, Jurassic Park is not real. So it kind of defeats that horror element where people say, oh, but it's just a fantasy. But perhaps what they can do with Rebirth is actually to give it a proper explanation to why the dinosaurs look that way. Why do they actually have genetically been changed to have this? Perhaps it has been in this particular island, they have been mutated. Albeit in the not the most high-tech way because back then it was in the 90s, right?
Yep.
So they may have played with the genetic code to make them more park-themed monsters, which is what the case is for this movie. They're trying to explain that.
And by doing that, they made them more dangerous.
Yes.
The T-Rex was outshined in the third movie by the Spinosaurus.
which
Yeah.
we saw in
Yeah.
this trailer.
No,
as well.
because the T-Rex has
Swimming in the
tiny
waters.
hands,
Yeah.
and the Spinosaurus had arms.
Yeah.
So I feel it lost its shine after the third one, where the T-Rex was just upstage, which is why I skipped the fourth and the fifth.
But the fourth and fifth, the T-Rex was once again upstage. I think that's just what the directive now of the Jurassic Park movies is going
Is
to
it-
be like. They will always introduce a new, bigger, better
But do you all
villain.
think that's a way of them trying to show that the old dinosaurs, the ones we grew up with, are being outclassed by the newer ones? The newer, more flashy ones.
I wouldn't say outclassed, but they are definitely having to coexist with these newer characters because first of all, they want to keep viewers invested in coming back to watch the movies and all that. But
Scarlett Johansson's good enough reason for that.
Yeah.
Two good reasons.
It's always about the dinosaurs, right?
yes,
And I've watched a lot of videos, so you don't have to. So they have two major superstars. The first is D-Rex, which you see in the trailers, the two trailers, which is basically a very mutated version of the T-Rex, who has a bulge on his head, similar to aliens, with a bulge on his head, but he's a mutated version of T-Rex because you have that.
chicken arms.
And then he also has a gorilla arm, which is very similar to Spinosaurus. So Spinosaurus, right? In Jurassic Park 3 as well as Jurassic World, they actually use the arms. So it's a combination between the two, and also the gargantuan size of D-Rex. So that's the first one. The second is basically the super large alligator fella who was in Jurassic World 1, and then they are gonna bring him back because he was only in very few scenes.
Oh, you said they teased him in the.
They teased
first
him
and
in
second.
the promotional material and all that, but in the actual films you only see like an Easter egg or like just in passing. So like we were talking about this earlier, we felt that maybe this is a low-key build to seeing the Mesosaur in all its like full glory, you know.
In all its messy glory. Yeah.
Morning glory.
Meso glory. Yeah.
What's the story, morning
Yeah.
glory?
Yeah, I mean,
So do you think we are expecting to see in the sixth movie, fight between the Mesosaur and D-Rex?
very likely that they won't because they will try to separate. Because you see, Jurassic World, they actually brought those two together, where they had the Indominus Rex gets eaten by the Mesosaur. It's the hybrid of in between a raptor gene and a T-Rex. So what happened was they actually threw in some like chameleon DNA and stuff like that.
Yes,
So
yes,
this
yes.
particular dinosaur can camouflage.
Yes.
Yeah, and he has the hunting instincts of a raptor, the size of a T-Rex.
They just want new ways to die. Like,
Ways to die.
why
Yes.
would you make an apex predator more dangerous?
Indoraptor.
They were auctioning it off in the second Jurassic World.
Yeah.
There were like this high society people, super rich billionaire types that came in to like buy off these dinosaurs. Spoiler alert, I'm sure most of us have seen Jurassic World 2. The dinosaurs got released and they ate up all those high bidding auctioneers.
Yeah. So
Very satisfactory deaths. Yeah.
I think it is personally to me, every Jurassic movie needs to have an analysis of the dinosaurs and as in terms of like where do they want this trajectory to go? Because like even like for example,
Quetzalcoatlus.
Quetzalcoatlus. Yeah, so
It's the Aztec god Quetzalcoatl, but they just added a US at the end.
yeah, so basically this particular flying dinosaur, right, doesn't look like that. They actually have like mutated it lah. So
Yes.
it's how InGen back in the day they were mutating and testing out all these variations. Even you look at the Diplodocus, right, where they have like some weird like feathers at the back in the teaser. So I think like personally it is interesting to see what they have in store for us, what the D-Rex is capable of, and like I think like even in other videos they have also analyzed the D-Rex that it is in terrible pain because it is mutated, so the limbs and all that do not match.
So it's like the bulldog of dinosaurs.
Yeah, and like sausage dogs. Yeah, where they have like a lot of back problems. Right. Oh yeah. Corgis have a lot of like back problems and stuff like that. So I think like I just want to see more of the movie. I want to see what they have in store, and I really hope that the movie does not like over exaggerate it. I mean I feel like it should come to a point where they know when to stop.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Hey man, when in Lost World when the T-Rex ate a dog and had the kennel hanging out the mouth, I thought they should have stopped then.
In the swimming pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought they should have stopped then. I just don't understand why the pterodactyls never flew to mainland and ate a couple of brown people. Mexico. I don't know where the coast of where?
Costa Rica.
Le Saint.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
because these birds,
Ellen.
these what pterodactyls you say?
Pterodactyls.
Pterodactyls, whichever.
The P is silent.
because
Like
they-
pterodactyl.
they-
But
can-
as
can-
kids, we used to call it.
Yeah.
They can eat anytime and from anywhere. But they are like vultures, but way worse, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we never really saw them until the third one.
The third one, yeah.
Yes.
They
I
were quite
encountered them on the
terrifying,
walkway. Yeah.
in the-
The scene where on the walkway the treetop
aviary,
walk, then
yeah.
the pterodactyl just came down. That was really memorable.
Also another thing is that in the teaser we see that they actually bring back the T-Rex boat. Yeah. So which is actually in the novel as well. Quite looking forward to it as well. I also have read through a lot of the videos. They talked about how the cinematography and all that will be maintained as per Jurassic Park and not Jurassic World. Where Jurassic World you have the over the top colors, very bright, very
The trailer we just saw, it kind of looked new. It didn't feel cinematic like Jurassic Park.
Oh, definitely they will not go to the dark era of 1 and 2. You see, 1 and 2 personally, this is 1 and 2 was dark. Third was more misty. You realize?
Yes. Foggy.
Yeah, very foggy and stuff. And so they have the air of mystery. You have Jurassic World 1, 2, 3, which all three were very colorful, very vibrant and all that. I think with the technologies of HD and stuff like that, you definitely have that. Oh, everything is so detailed. But I think like in terms of the technical wise, when it's over detailed, that's when
it loses its mysticism and magic.
Exactly, and
It-
it's
it-
over
it
realistic.
Moves you from the show.
Which is exactly like Final Destination.
Exactly.
The first two, the saturation was a bit darker and deeper, so it felt a bit more
Ominous.
And it hit more deeper. But the third one was a bit more brighter, and the fourth one was too bright.
Yeah.
So okay.
So it's like sometimes you have to look at like in terms of like the production stage, right? Of the capabilities of what people are capable of, and also the trends of the production cycles where they, this is the trend where they want to introduce more colors. There are more technologies to introduce more colors.
More doesn't always mean better.
Anyway, you were mentioning earlier you like to see the spectacular deaths, and I guess we're going to talk about spectacular deaths in a bit. Let's switch gears for a moment. I think before we move on, Jurassic World Rebirth, watch, don't watch. For me, it's a definite watch.
Watch together.
Yeah, watch together. Yeah, if time permits, if Leonard permits. Yeah.
Watch or don't watch?
Okay, I say watch. Which is your favorite dinosaur? Let us know in the comment section.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Final Destination Bloodlines. Right. So
You got it.
I caught it
Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah, so it's still kind of fresh in my mind. Bear in mind, I've only watched one Final Destination, which was the first Final Destination way back in like primary 6 or sec 1. And I watched it during the altar boy camp, which you are a part of as well. So we were altar boys in the same church, and then they played it for us during the camp.
Yeah, altar boys basically we are the ones that get touched by the priest lah.
I never got touched by the priest.
You clearly got touched by the priest.
I never was touched by a priest. We're gonna cut that out because I'm scared later Father Peter Tan come and try to find us. Huh?
touch you.
Okay. So so I watched that in the altar boy camp, and like first thing that comes to mind is that the premise and the concept is the same. Later, Gary and Leonard will talk more about the retrospective or a recap of the previous Final Destination films because they've been watching it to catch up. I haven't. I just went in blind. And sometimes that's the kind of perspective certain viewers have, you see. Because the last Final Destination before this was in 2011. So it's a good 14 years since, they made like this current one. Same thing, like people cheat death and then death comes back for them. Everyone starts dying in like chronological order as it was meant to be according to fate.
Have you all lost your fucking mind?
Very creative deaths and just on the whole, very nice, silly time at the cinema. Perfect for like this blockbuster season hasn't started yet as of this recording time. So like it's those pre-blockbusters that it just like fine tunes. So rather it prepares you for blockbuster season. No brainers. You just watch, have fun. Yeah, and then interesting concept because they call it Bloodlines because apparently it's like death is coming for people who are like down the certain bloodlines.
Drinks all around.
It's a spoiler. It's a spoiler review.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yeah. All right. So the movie starts off like in the 60s or 70s because it's very stylized. So like when it opens, right, it's like a stylized throwback. it kind of like seems like the Mad Men era and all that, but yeah, just like lens flare and the color gradients all are like very like exaggerated, very in your face that it's set in the olden days, and the sound over contrast, yes, and the soundtrack of this film a lot like a James Gunn film. Shout by the Isley Brothers is the main theme song. I love that song.
You know you make me wanna shout, kick my heels up and down, throw my hands up and down.
You know you make me wanna shout, yeah. A little bit louder now, a little bit softer now. So that was the song being played in the restaurant at the start of the film. Everyone is stamping their feet on the glass floor and all that, and then like the glass breaks. The woman gets the premonition, warns everyone.
Saw what death was about to do.
People don't listen, and everyone starts dying one by one. Last part, the woman dies too, and move forward to present day. This young girl, main protagonist of the story, teenage, I think like university kid or something, wakes up. Turns out she's been having recurring nightmares. Long story short, it's a grandmother that had the premonition. The grandmother actually, it showed that the premonition was averted because she alerted everyone in the restaurant to like escape. So when it escaped, turns out there was building faults, right? So death supposed to come for this whole big group of like restaurant patrons. None of them died. So how Death took his or her revenge. Yeah, it's her in the Marvel comics, right? Death.
Yeah.
Lady Death. Yeah. So how Death.
Lady Death.
Yeah, Thanos loved Lady Death. Different story for a different time. Anyway, Death came for everyone who was supposed to die that night and their bloodlines as well. So until like the bloodlines were eradicated, then Death will move on to the next person that's supposed to die. So her surviving grandmother became a hermit like Obi-Wan and Yoda, but worse.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
Because people think that she's absolutely batshit crazy, which she is, because like she's dedicated her whole life to living in a little fortress out in the middle of nowhere. And she's got like all these charts on the wall and timelines, and like she records down obituaries of how the people and their descendants in that restaurant die. So it's a bit different from the previous films. I mean, I've only seen the first one, but of course I will just read up a bit about the rest, in the sense that now it's an intergenerational curse and all that.
Maybe that was the design all along.
You know? Yeah, and then death is going in order as to how these people will die, and of course like this movie centers on this family, the granddaughter, right? And then like how her cousins, her brother, her mom, the only people exempt were her dad, because her dad isn't part of the bloodline, and her other in-law.
The inside's colder than an Asian in-law.
Mom, Dad, this is Alan.
It's a pleasure
Where
to meet.
you go college?
Tufts?
Never heard. Not real school. What you do?
I'm an eco-consultant.
What that? That sounds stupid. How much you make?
About $200,000 per year.
Welcome to family.
You know, if you're not like blood related to the grandmother, then you're safe. So, yeah, and then it's the different creative deaths come into play. The grandmother eventually sacrifices her life to show the grandchild that she's not mad. Tells her all the stuff, gives her a guidebook how to cheat death, with like all the how to look out for omens and the combinations of like stuff happening and all that. And to prove it to the granddaughter, she stands outside of her little fortress, and then like the windmill goes crazy, this, that, and then boom, something bursts through her head.
A long time no see. Benny, what's up, Johnny, dude? Benny's here. Oh, what's going on? What the? Oh shit, Benny, what's up, dude? Oh! What the hell's going on in there? Benny, hold the baby.
Like in front of the granddaughter, just to prove the point.
It's so traumatic.
Yeah, exactly. And then next scene is the funeral. The main character's estranged mom comes back, because the estranged mom also is influenced by the grandmom. So also a bit of those batshit crazy conspiracy theorist types and all that. And then yeah, the rest of the film is basically the family dying like one by one. And then like silly ass twist, right? Because this is Final Destination, you gotta like up the ante, right? Like the person that was next in the order did not die, had a very close shave, tattooed, he's a tattooist, piercings and all that. So he had his like piercing hooked to a fan, and then like his leg hit something, and then like his tattoo shop caught fire, he got caught in the fire. Next day he was fine, just a slight burn on his hand, because like apparently his mom starts crying and confesses that the father is not the biological father. So like because he's of a different bloodline, so death wasn't coming for him.
So but he almost died lah.
But he almost died in a very theatrical way.
So death basically said that, hey, I go kill,
I'm gonna like let you touch a little bit, but I'll leave you alive.
Tickle you a bit.
Yeah, but because they always say that if you fuck with death, then death will fuck back with you, right? So he kept fucking with death. So eventually he dies in a spectacular way in the hospital.
But he wasn't part of the original design.
Death doesn't like to be cheated.
No, because he's not actually the biological
bloodline.
Yeah, but he dies anyway lah. Because
He literally tempted fate.
played with it too much. In the end, the MRI turned on, and then his piercings all came out one by one. And then he went flying into the MRI and a wheelchair went for good measure.
Oh.
After it's Final Destination.
Yeah,
It's
lah,
got
just over the top lah.
over the top, very very fun time. They meet the black dude, JB. He's the mortician in all the other films.
Yeah.
The creepy Obi-Wan kind of guy. Yeah. That dude. So they explain his backstory as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Like, finally lah.
No harm, no foul. I'll see you soon.
So it turns out that the grandmother, the one that was in the start of the film, the stylized past sequence,
Yeah.
he was a little boy whose mom was one of the singers singing the Isley Brothers song at the start. So
So him and his mom were originally supposed to die.
everyone there's supposed to die, but because he is the last one in that timeline as calculated by the mom. So when they meet him, he once again explains the concept of death. You can only cheat it if you die or if you kill someone else.
Okay.
And then he says, okay, after your family dies, and I trust that all of you will die, then I will die peacefully. So that was his scene in this film. They're trying to like give Final Destination a fresh start, as well as like close the door on like whatever has happened past. So I'm not sure if this Bloodlines thing applies to all the Final Destinations that came before, because it's large amounts of people dying in weird ways over the years. In fact, the end credit sequence, they go through all the newspaper clippings and there's animations of people dying and all that. You know, it's cute.
Over the years.
Yeah, over the
And
years.
then that's like MD5 lah.
It's like Deadpool and Wolverine, the ending where they had those clippings of the
Oh,
fox.
that's cute. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was a nice like maybe it was a nice resolution to all the old Final Destination films. And like, yeah, I mean, death is not something that's exactly that fun, but Final Destination puts the fun in funeral, you know. So like,
Do you remember any of the characters' obituaries? Any of the names?
no, I did not. I have a fishbowl memory, goldfish memory. Sorry,
Oh,
fish
no,
bowls
it's a
don't
fish
have
bowl.
memories. Fish bowls are not sentient. Leonard John's bag is not sentient, but it takes the same place as sentient
It
people.
takes about like 10% of the real estate space in our 916.
It's okay. I mean, we tried talking him out of it, but it's fine.
Okay, no,
But one thing we managed to talk him into is recapping the rest of the Final Destination franchise with Gary. But before that, do you guys have any other questions about the recent Final Destination film?
Yeah, the last thing you said regarding the franchise was it feels like a reboot, right? So this is not a closure to the story. It's a reboot of the universe.
It's a weird, like maybe it's like a midpoint in the sense that, okay, close door to whatever happened before. Then after the mortician guy finally dies, I guess, which is probably off screen.
Okay,
Because,
but what year does that take place in? Because you said it starts out in the 1960s. Does it jump forward?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like time
okay.
jump, yeah, straight time jump.
Alright.
But lovely soundtrack, man. Like Spirit in the Sky.
Oh, nice.
Led Zeppelin.
Okay, wait, because it's Bloodlines.
I think there was the Pina Colada song as well.
Okay.
So that's why it's so James
Bloodlines,
Gunn.
Slayer? Slayer?
No. It's all like 60s, 70s music.
Right.
If you go to Spotify, all out
So
70s. I'm not sure if they play any Zeppelin, but it's all the kind of stuff that we like. Let's take it back to the start, back to the Altar Boy camp. And incidentally, I think he watched it at his Altar Boy
That's right.
camp as well.
I was so young. The priest let us sleep in the chapel for the last night. So I fell asleep while the older boys were watching Coyote Ugly. I fell asleep before any topless scenes. Then I woke up not knowing what film it was, and it was Final Destination 1, the first one. I woke up at the scene where the train crushed the car, nobody died, and Sean William Scott gets his head chopped off by debris from the car.
Oh, yeah. He was like a shard.
From the car.
From the car.
A metal piece just got hit by the train, swept by the wind, and decapitated him. I saw that, and I went back to sleep.
So Stifler died in...
Yeah, exactly. Stifler died in a very comical manner. So I always wanted to see that movie, but because we were so young, I couldn't get access to that movie through
Laserdisc.
legitimate
VCD.
means.
That was VCD, right? Yeah.
Through legitimate means. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was VCD era.
VCD, yeah.
So I couldn't get access to that movie for years. I saw it again as a teenager. I like the idea of death. I remember taking extreme precautions after the first movie.
He still does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gary still leaves his glass of water next to electronics.
Like the entire theme behind today is that Leonard has just been very paranoid about potential
It's not
accidents. happening.
paranoia.
He has
survival
become
instinct.
he has become the grandmother from
He has
the,
become the fortress.
yeah, he's
his own
become the
fortress.
yeah.
Okay, so this is a comfort thing. No, see what you need to understand.
Yes, what do you need to
no,
understand?
Stroking
just
it
be
as well.
careful. If you hit the glass, the glass might topple and electrocute you.
I'll step on the thing, I'll
Yeah.
fall back,
You
then
fall
the
back
neon
and
light
then
will go
you
into
hit
my
me.
mouth.
Then after the LED will go into your
Yeah.
mouth, then you'll be light up like a Christmas tree.
Exactly.
After-
Yeah. So
Leonard will
you
scream,
saw
run
the
into
first
Gary.
one.
Then after the mic will go in my mouth. Yeah.
Okay.
A
calm
lot
down,
of
relax.
phallic objects going into people's mouths. What a way to die
They
for
are the
straight
married
men.
ones.
Yeah.
So you don't take any
Precautions?
basic precautions.
Oh, I'm a highly paranoid individual. I may not look like it, but I'm afraid of so many
What
things that
about
could
you?
go wrong.
I mean, okay, so my wife is a fan of the franchise. I actually never caught Final Destination until like 1 month ago. So I started watching 1 month ago. And I understand why there's like a following, why people actually like it. And then I caught 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I find that I am nonchalant about it. I don't feel affected by it as well. I don't know.
No, not affected. I mean, what precautions do you take because you've seen the first 5?
I think like all these scenarios have been thoroughly studied by the writers to this every situation that they have placed, right, are ones that you have already thought about and they play on that emotion. So say for example FD5, right, is the swimming pool one. FD5 also covers
That's the fourth one.
fourth one.
The fourth one was the swimming pool.
Oh, yeah,
Nick,
correct.
Nick Zano dies.
Yeah,
that way.
so that one. Then where his innards get like
Yeah, I got
like
Suctioned out.
sucked out.
through the drainage system.
Yeah, so that was one. The in the same movie, so FD4 was the car wash scene.
Yeah.
So like a lot of these portions of our lives that we have seen are things that we actually have felt already. Things like, for example, water near electricity and stuff like that. Can you stop staring at my water? Thanks. And I feel that like for myself, I feel like even I have children also. I feel that yes, of course I know of the necessary precautions to take, but I think that I have outgrown it to the point
Don't outgrow that. Take that precaution right now.
No, listen.
Take that precaution.
Listen, it will not move.
It's making me
if death
nervous.
doesn't move it.
Yes, look, it's making me nervous.
I'm not part of the bloodline. Okay, my bloodline is from China and from many other places. So do not need to worry. Useless bloodline.
Too mixed up.
Yeah. So I think like it doesn't play on my fears. Whereas for my wife and also for you, so when you caught it when you were younger, so it tends to be you were more impressionable at that stage. So definitely it would have affected you more. So like now, even like horror films, right? I'm a fan of horror lah. So you will see more horror film reviews and all that. I feel that I'm not affected as much when I watch it now. Like Shutter, which is like honestly my top one, like the number one for film for horror films. I don't feel that I was very affected by it. I was traumatized by it, and it was so good. Of course, I watched it a lot of times. But a couple of years back, I watched it, and it didn't hit. It hit me. It hit the nervous the bowels of my nervous systems when I was younger. But that's about it. It didn't affect me like how it would have if I were younger.
I wasn't honestly, to me, I wasn't really affected by Final Destination.
Yeah, he's very man.
I grew up watching The Crow,
He
Predator.
knows no fear.
No fear.
That's a bunch of bullshit. Cut that out. I've seen
he thinks just because
no,
he said cut it out means you're gonna cut it
no,
out.
that's bullshit. Like, what no fear? So what I was saying was
So what do you feel?
that I watched Predator when I was a kid on VHS. I've seen Aliens. I've seen The Crow. I've seen R-rated films. Okay, but Final Destination, there was no ghost or entity or monster. It was common occurrences and accidents that could happen.
Yeah.
So it's not fear, it's just precaution in my opinion. So for example, if you come out of the shower and you off the switch, do you use your bare hands after you just wiped it off? No, for me, I just use a cloth and wipe it off the plug. Look,
That's
electricity could just jump out of the socket. That's what I'm trying to
Okay,
say.
it's common sense lah.
Yeah, common sense. That's not paranoia. That's not fear.
that's like buying the extra safe condom, you know, the very thick kinds and all that. So you ensure the semen doesn't penetrate through the thing and impregnate someone.
Correct. But
Similar
by that
context,
same analogy, by overdoing it as double wrapping, then
Or
both
triple
condoms-
wrapping lah.
then
The Fortress
all-
one is 5 lah.
Then all the condoms will break, right? So anyway,
If death intends it lah.
So anyway, Final Destination 1 was really iconic to me. 2 was what caused a lot of road paranoia with the driving.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so the second one, they added in new rules like
Order of death.
So for the second film, they added in new rules such as new life could eliminate your link in the chain. But then that was thrown out, and you had to die and be reborn, such as stopping your heart. So some of the rules, they were just all over the place. The third one was really fun because I always wanted to see a roller coaster crash. Then I saw it.
It was done very nicely.
Yeah, it was done really nicely, really scary. So the fourth one was the one which, in my opinion, was the most ridiculous because they shot it in 3D for the first time. So some of the deaths were just like, it was too outlandish for me, and it's these kind of things would never have occurred in everyday accidents. It's too coincidental, and it seems generated out of intelligent design rather than coincidence. But that's just to me. So now the fifth one was my favorite out of the 5.
FIFA.
Because the fifth, if you don't specifically look for it, you don't pay attention to the technology, the phones, the cars, the music, right?
Yeah.
And you just forget which timeline it's set in. I saw the fifth one the year it came out.
Okay.
And our friend brought me to see the F1. Guess where we were sitting?
There, right there, the stands are.
The grandstand, right? That's where we were at, right?
No.
Oh, we were seated
right
at the road, one of the
right
turns in
at
the road.
turns.
Okay.
We sat there for about 15 minutes.
Right.
Then I was started to get a bit nervous. Then I told him, I said, hey, we can't see anything. The cars just zoom past us. So he was, so you want to go? I was like, okay, let's go. As we were leaving, then I said, okay, I saw Final Destination. That's why I wanted to leave.
I mean, nothing crashed that day.
Nothing
Maybe
crashed.
it wasn't Leonard John's time to die yet, so that's why nothing crashed. He averted something because like he wanted to go and.
No, I didn't get a premonition, so it doesn't count. So now I honestly like the fifth one the best because the fifth one sets up the first movie. At the end, you see the survivors of the fifth movie.
Flight 180.
Boarding Flight 180.
Come on, man! Get on the flag! Get on the flag!
Yeah, and that was brilliant because I never saw that coming. Some of the deaths, most of the deaths you see it, right? Your sphincter tightens and you're just waiting for it. But then once it passes, you're like, okay, you can unclench now. But for that scene with the plane, that was something I never saw coming, and I really love that about the film. So now that you mentioned that the sixth one is about bloodlines, I'm assuming that every person that died in all 5 films were related to the
It's
people.
a part of it lah.
That's what I'm thinking as well. It wasn't explicitly said, but
it was hinted.
But I
I
mean,
mean,
like,
time-wise, timeline-wise, let's look at the timeline.
Yeah, it makes sense.
60s, ma.
Yeah.
So it's not death. It's a curse. You're saying.
No, they still refer to it as like, yeah, it's a curse, but death is the one coming to collect on the curse by getting people into situations where they'll be killed spectacularly. So perhaps it wasn't explicitly stated like I said, but if you ask me, I think that's what they were trying to say as well. Is like that's how this whole curse came about in the first place, because of this mass aversion of death at one go.
For all I know, it could circle back and get us all again.
Do they specify in the 6th what entity causes the premonitions to take place for them to even skip death in the first place?
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. It's just it happens to be there. It's the same as somehow Palpatine returned.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Hello, Star Wars Weekends fans. How you doing?
I think that like based on my experience from 1 to 5, this is just my own personal opinion now, is that 1 to 3 felt very organized. Okay, and note, I only watched like the last 2 months.
Yeah.
So I understand the progression of technology in understanding the Final Destination franchise and how it's progressing as technology progresses. So you can see like in terms of like the CGI and stuff like that, it improves year after year, movie after movie. However, with movie after movie, you have this advancement in technology. Things can look very nice, like I think the Final Destination 3D, right? It doesn't hit a spot with me. I find that the storytelling when it comes to Final Destination 1, 2, 3 seems to be a lot more fluid, a lot more ominous. Versus 4 and 5 where the tonality becomes a bit more comical in that sense.
Just like the Saw franchise, the more as technology advances, the more ridiculous and outlandish the death scenes.
I think a lot of movies that were from the 80s, you see even like the Terminator films, the first 2 fantastic classics, third one still not too bad, but the more they make it, the Chucky films as well. The first one really good because I watched Child's Play just a few weeks ago for the first time as an adult. As a kid, I couldn't really understand, right? But I think once the sequels hit a certain number, like beyond the trilogy phase, that's when you know they're starting to just like throw stuff to the wall and see if it sticks. You know, they're just experimenting with like variations of a concept that's already proven.
But nothing seems to land.
Some beats land, some don't. You know what I mean? Because like you can't appease like the hardcore fans of the original trilogy, and you can't appease like maybe sequel trilogy fans, to borrow from Star Wars. But yeah, it applies for everything else as well. Yeah, I just feel that quality wise, movies tend to dip. I mean, technology wise, they'll continue to improve, but like storytelling wise and all that, it will tend to dip. I'm not really sure how to speak for the other 5 Final Destination films, but small amount of money spent to like enjoy like 2 hours of like comical deaths.
I based on what you just said, the advancement of technology, right? Why I find the 5th to be specifically fun and special for me was because it wasn't as ridiculously done as the 4th.
Right.
Some of the deaths were a little comical in the 4th. I think it's because they were trying to go for that, watch out movie in 3D. So that's why the 4th, some of the deaths. But the one that really stuck out to me was the urban legend death in the swimming pool, where the guy got his butt stuck to the drainage and got stuff sucked out. That one.
He was trying to get the coin. His lucky coin.
Yeah. That was the one thing that was kind of disturbing for me. The rest were kind of ridiculous because that drowning scene, that suction scene, was the only thing that was realistic to me.
In
the 4.
Right.
Yeah.
4, right?
I think that in 4, okay, this is my take. 1, 2, 3 was really setting like a memorable franchise. Once he hit 4, they actually hit right with getting hotter actors and actresses. What threw me off for 5 is that there were one protagonist and kind of like a semi-antagonist. Towards the end, he was trying to kill that guy. Yeah. Both of them look very similar.
Right. The white guys.
Yeah, and the only way that you can differentiate them, in fact, even the name is not memorable to me. The only way you can differentiate them is by the eyebrows. One of the eyebrows was like, they have like Shah Rukh Khan kind of eyebrows, very, very thick and very, like yours.
Very Indian eyebrows.
Yeah, very Indian eyebrows.
Like his, basically. Yeah. He's gonna touch. He's just gonna touch. That's all.
Just touch.
No touch.
If you struggle, it'll be worse.
Yeah, so it's like not memorable. The LASIK incident, and then it was not very memorable for me because it didn't seem very. I wasn't as connected. Maybe because I was also doing work at the same time, but I felt like there was a certain disconnect, in terms of the color. Alright, so the color was more saturated. So it may have been a case of.
For 4 and 5, yes, it was more saturated. I was very surprised that I didn't catch any iPhones or any new cars or any technology because they had the whole film set in the 90s.
Yeah, but I mean, you could see from the way they were dressed. But I think like in general, the FD franchise has grown to a stage where third, fourth, and fifth was all about gore and like appeasing the crowd. So I think like I would like to see Bloodlines to see where they land.
I want to see which direction they're gonna go.
Yeah, where they land in terms of like the decision of where they want to go.
And R.I.P. Tony Todd.
R.I.P.
RP. Yeah. I think the direction they're going is in the fun direction. Because that's what I get it. From the music to the cinematography to the performances, the script and all that. It was just really absurd. It's just an absurd take on horror and all that. So
they've done away with all the suspense, thriller, mystery action, and now they're going for gore.
Okay, like scene wise and all that, they still rely on the same like suspense and thriller kind of beats. Like the false jump scare or like the build up of the music and something.
So tension
happens.
building is good.
It's still there, it's still good. It's just that you can never take a plot like this seriously. It's never gonna happen in real life. You know what I mean?
I think you're right. The first two was the one that you actually start to take precautions after you watch them. But the third one onwards, the deaths become so ridiculous.
Yeah.
None of us are ever gonna die in the tanning salon.
No, none of us are gonna die the way they died on the camera.
No, you tan, right?
You tan.
I do, but I tan under the real sun.
That's
yes.
right.
Yeah. Still can die though.
You risk skin cancer,
yeah,
but you don't get roasted alive.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
And with that, we'll see you in the next episode.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and maybe tell us in the comments what are some of the best and worst ways to die, or how you would like to die in the future. See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye. Best ways to die.
No, dumb ways to die.
Correct.
You want to put that in?
Yes, this is definitely
You want
going
to
in.
put that? You want to put that one line?